Hi guys, it's Nancy. One of the questions I get is, can you foil over alcohol ink? So we are going to answer that question today. So I am using the Seahorse Floral Glimmer Hot foil plate. This is from Spellbinders. It's a part of the Seahorse Kisses collection by Dawn Woleslagle. I love this glimmer plate. I think she nailed it. She knocked it out of the park. It is gorgeous. And on this one, I just hot foiled it on some Hammermill, and then I colored it in with some alcohol markers. Okay, so fun, great, love it. But then I made a video on how to make some water backgrounds, and this one is basically using pigment powders, and this is on some heavy duty watercolor cardstock. This is the Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock. So we have some challenges here because this is a thick, porous cardstock. So I don't know if it's going to take the foil. It might take some effort, but again, it's thick, so we'll have to wait and see. And we're using hot foil, and hot foil tends to stick to everything, so we'll see. And then this panel I made on Yupo paper with alcohol ink. So my concern here is that the foil will try to stick to this veining that we have. So that'll be the challenge, to try to keep it from sticking to that. So we're going to start with, our glimmer is already warmed up and ready to go. There is our hot foil plate. And I have cut some Prism Glimmer foil. So that is ready to go right there. And I'm going to start with the watercolor panel. And fingers crossed. Hopefully I have that, oops, centered. Colored side always down. And I'm not going to add any shims or anything because that's pretty thick. So we're going to give that the 60-second countdown. And I will pause the video and we'll come back with the platinum machine and we'll run it through. Fingers crossed. All right, through the magic of the pause button, you guys did not have to wait that 60 seconds. So now we're just going to disengage this from our base. And we are going to run this through. If you've never seen my hot foiling videos, please go back and watch the playlist. I explain why my plates are taped together. It helps me with the image not shifting. I am going to run this through front and back. Okay. Now plug that back in. And we are going to carefully lift this. I probably should have done the hinge method. We're going to let this cool down before we reveal it. And then on this panel, I think I want to cut some of this down. As pretty as this is, I think it's going to better our chances if we have that cut down. The thinner the layers are on your alcohol ink, the better. If this were, like, you can see how light this is up here and how much more concentrated and saturated the color is down here. The foil's going to want to stick to that. This is going to turn into an adhesive, and the foil's going to want to stick to that. So I'm going to try to reduce some of that. Try to cut this panel like this so that we can foil on this side where there's not as much concentration of alcohol ink. So this is 5 inches wide. I'm going to go 4 inches. We should be okay there. Okay, so just got to be careful this little blob here. And then we'll keep this as an accent piece we can use on another project. Same thing in terms of the sandwich. Our light is green, which means our plate is nice and hot. We have that same prism foil, pretty side down, matte side. This is the side that has the adhesive, the heat activated adhesive. So this is the side that will stick to that Yupo paper. Okay. I'm also concerned about my Yupo paper curling up a little bit. All right. So this one, we're going to be pretty quick to move on. All right, same thing. We're going to give that the countdown. And while that's counting down, let's reveal. Fingers crossed. You guys, I'm very happy with those results. Now what I can do is, because these are watercolor pigments that are in here, I can take a water brush and I can lay down the water brush with some just regular water, right? And what it will do is it will reactivate those pigments, okay? As it reactivates those pigments, I can just take a paper towel and lift. And as I lift that out, I can go back in with another color medium, pencils or watercolor markers, kind of a bleaching method, really. You're just using this water to lift that out. Oops, that's too much. And then go back in and lay in some darker colors. Or you can leave it like this. It certainly looks beautiful like this. But if you wanted to lay down some color, or just do this bleaching method, which is just using water, by lifting that out of there, I can change the dimension by making that lighter or adding color and making it darker. But I'm very happy this worked. I was really expecting to sacrifice this panel. Okay, our Yupo paper says it's done. And this one I'm just going to run through once because I know it's going to want to stick. Yupo paper does very well with foiling because it's a synthetic paper. It's plastic. Okay. And again, we want to let that cool down before we reveal it. I can't get over how pretty this watercolor one came out. That really makes me happy, you guys. You can watercolor over this with the pigment powders. There's so many different things we can do with this. And that foil will resist. The foil will resist those colors. I'm super happy about that. Okay. Let's reveal this one. Cross your fingers. Okay, so we have a little bit of overfoiling. That is to be expected. Okay, and here's my concern. Remember that blob we had right there? So it's stuck to that, but everything else is pretty good. The overfoiling we have is because of those tiny little details. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take a little piece of washi tape. Any washi tape you have. You can even use the Spellbinder's best tape ever. But I just roll that up around my finger because this is a smooth paper. So I don't want to use my Mono Sand Eraser on here because this will scratch it. So what I'm going to do is just take this tape and I'm going to touch those areas where that overfoiling is. And hopefully the majority of that will release from my Yupo background here and stick to the tape. It's really in those fine crevices and it comes right up. But I would say, yes, this was successful. And you can see that. That's the silver foil coming up. And it won't come out of your embossed areas where it was pressed in by the foil plate, but it will come out of those center areas where, you know, the designs are just too close together and the foil just wanted to stick. It was in a really happy place and it didn't want to come out. So by using this little bit of tape, the majority of that is lifting right off now. And again, I would not scratch at this. I would not use any kind of Mono Sand Eraser on any kind of smooth paper like this. If you're foiling on glossy paper or mirror cardstock, you don't really want to scratch at it. Just use some tape. Have a little bit of patience. Go in there and lift that up. And you'll see the majority of that lifted up. Now, on the spots where the alcohol ink veined and it blobbed up a little bit. So like right there. See, there's some foil in there. Right there. Over here. I think that kind of adds to the look. So I would not mess with it. Now, in this case, in terms of coloring, that's up to you. Really, You could color this with some alcohol markers, but what's going to happen is the same thing. The alcohol marker is going to move that alcohol ink around. So I maybe would recommend using, or just leaving it alone, or using a crayon or a wax or a pencil or a pastel, something like that instead of using the markers. Because if I go in here with, here's a alcohol blending marker in clear, and here's that sample piece. If I go in here, see what it's doing? It's erasing that. And I'm not saying that that looks bad, but it's going to take away all of that prettiness that we have in there. I would probably just matte this and leave it alone. I don't know that I would color this one. I think I would leave this one alone. So there answers the question, can you foil on alcohol inks? The answer is yes. You can also foil on watercolor paper. You just want to be careful and take your time with both methods. Obviously, different thicknesses of paper, different kinds of dyes, might affect how they hot foil, but these worked out great. Again, I have other videos showing this collection. This is purchased through Spellbinders. I'll put the link down below for you. It is called the Seahorse Floral Glimmer Plate, part of the Seahorse Kisses Seahorse Kisses collection by Dawn Woleslagle over at Spellbinders. The link's down below. I love this set. There are also some accessory pieces where you can get some jellyfish and some scent. This actually comes with 2 sentiments. It comes with this thanks sentiment. But I do recommend the other accessory pieces as well if you are somebody who likes to make underwater kind of images. Here is one of the other cards that I made, and I have these videos on my channel if you want to go check them out. There's also a embossing folder. It is like a net embossing folder, so I have these as well. So go check out my videos. If you have any questions, post them down below. If you enjoyed watching me foil, give me a thumbs up before you leave. Thanks for watching, and keep on foiling. Bye, guys.